Hey guys, and welcome back to Gap Grace Point Online. As always, it's great to be here with you and awesome to have you join us for the start of a new series. This month, over July, we look at compassion and justice, a month that we always do as Grace Point, where we look at what God is calling us to do, what is right, what is honorable, what is true, and what is the right behavior for us as Christians as we care for one another through compassion and justice. So stick with me this month as we have a look at Just Us, our brand new July Justice Month series. What this means is that we look at the same themes and the same topics, and as a whole church, we try to see what God is telling us around issues of justice and how we can help one another and reach out to other people in care and compassion. Like I said, this series is called Just Us, and so as this series, we look at what God is calling us as Christians to do. God calls each of us as Christians to do His work that He has called us to do. And so over this Just Us series, we look at what exactly that is and how we can take action to do what God is asking us to do. So today we start with Compassion and Justice Month, and we start with the theme called Just Us. We look at the story of a woman named Dorcas. Now, Dorcas was a lady who lived in the time of the first church. Right in the beginning of the church, after Jesus had gone back to heaven, this movement called the Way, or the church, started to happen. Now, a movement is something that people follow, or an idea that people follow. Sometimes it's a person, but in this case, it was Jesus Christ. He said He is the way, the truth, and the life. And so the first people who, along with the 11 disciples, remember Judas was no longer one of the disciples, so they became known as the 11 disciples, and they, along with the other followers, became known as the followers of the way. The followers of Jesus who said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. So at this time, they looked after one another. Jesus had given the commandment to the disciples saying, take care of one another, love each other, and make sure that you show an example to other people so that they will see God's love through your actions. One of these people was called Dorcas, and what she did is make clothes for the people that were part of this community called the Way. And so Dorcas made clothes for people, and through doing that, she really cared for other people. People saw her as an example of God's love because of the way that she cared for other people. But one day something terrible happened, and she got sick and she died. And then Peter came and he raised her back from the dead because people were really, really sad and mourning for her because of her love and care for other people. We can read more about her story in Acts 9 verse 36 to 42, but today we'll just look at the summary of it. So then, through the story of Dorcas, we can see two important themes for today: compassion and relief. Now, compassion is a form of care and love that Jesus instructed us to have. It's by taking care of one another that we have compassion. And obviously, care is fulfilling the needs or helping someone with what they need. And so Dorcas did exactly that. She had compassion on other people, and through her compassion, she cared for them. She showed compassion to others and in turn showed God's love to them. Then we had the part of the story where we see relief happening, and that was when people were so saddened by her death that Peter came and healed her from the dead. People were so sad and mourning and crying that when Peter came to heal her and raise her back to life, they experienced a huge relief from their sadness, and they were able to experience God's love and peace again through their relief from the mourning. But there's one last thing for today that we can't forget, and that's today's title, Just Us. Now, the series is called Just Us because firstly, it's a play on the word justice, and secondly, it reminds us that God is counting on us to care for other people and to be an example of His love to others. If we don't do it, who will? So here's the challenge for this week. This week, we are called to action of care and compassion and relief. If we look around us in our world, there are people that need compassion and they need care. There are lots of people who do not have clothes, food, shoes, toys, or anything like that. Some of us might have some old toys, clothes, shoes, or even some extra food lying around at home. So this week, I want to challenge you to go through your old things and see if there's not something that you can donate. And then you can bring it to your church or to Grace Point so that we can give it to someone and therefore provide relief and compassion to them by giving them something they need. In that way, we share God's love to other people and show how God cares for us. We spread God's love through our acts of care, compassion, and relief. Remember last week we looked at the scripture, "You are the light of the world." And so today we need to remember that we need to let our light shine, which is God in us, so that other people will see the example of God when we care for one another. We need to remember that God is counting on us to care for his people, and that through our examples, we need to show God's love to those around us. Our memory verse for today is the second part of last week's scripture, Matthew 5, verse 16 in the ESV Bible. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven. For today's activity, I'd like you to write out the memory verse and to really try to understand what it means. Uploaded in the comments below is a link to a little template where you can write your memory verse on and make it your own. Stick it up somewhere where you'll see it every day and think about what it means that we are the light of the world and how we need to show God's light and love to others around us through our acts of care and compassion. That's it from us here at Gap Grace Point Online today. Join us for the rest of the Just Us series again next week. Bye, guys.